Hey guys, welcome to Thoughts for Thursday. I'm back here in my office at my house, behind my house actually. It's where I come on Thursdays to try to find a quiet spot, spend some time alone, and just gathering my thoughts, praying for you guys, praying for our time together coming up on Sunday. You know, some people, they just know how to make an entrance. Whenever they come into the room, all the focus goes to them, all eyes are on them. And this happened pretty regularly with Jesus and His ministry. But in our passage that we're studying this weekend in John chapter 12, Jesus draws attention to Himself in a very special way, in a very bold and purposeful way. It's the passage that's known as the Triumphal Entry, where Jesus rides in amongst this parade of thousands upon thousands of people, and He rides in on a donkey, signaling and symbolizing that He is declaring Himself to be the King of the Jews. And you know, some people, when they saw that, in fact many people, they got very excited. It's one of the reasons why they were cheering and worshiping Jesus, because they thought that He was going to parade through town and then go and sit on a royal earthly throne and deliver the people from the physical oppression that they were under at the time. What they didn't realize, and what they didn't like very much, was that Jesus was presenting Himself as a king, but that He wasn't going to go sit on an earthly throne at that time, but instead He was going to shoulder a criminal's cross. Some people believe that that day was the day kind of set aside for the Jews to select their lamb to be sacrificed for this great event called the Passover. Whether or not that's true, Jesus was presenting Himself as a king, but also as a lamb to be sacrificed. It's pretty interesting. In John chapter 1, two titles are kind of placed upon Jesus. John the Baptist, when he sees Jesus in John chapter 1, he declares, "Behold, the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world." And in the same chapter, just a few passages later, one of the followers of Jesus ends up saying, "Jesus, you're the Son of God. You're the King of Israel." And so in one chapter, in the Gospel of John, Jesus is presented as the Lamb and the King. And that's exactly what He's doing in the Triumphal Entry. He's presenting Himself as the King, but He's going to show Himself as the Lamb of God who would take away the sin of the world. In Revelation chapter 5, there is this beautiful image where Jesus is presented as the lion and the lamb. He's a lion in that He is full of power and authority and dignity and just kingliness. And He's a lamb who was slain for all those who would trust in Him. And that's what we have in our passage for this weekend. You know, I hope that and pray that you will take some time this weekend and just read the Triumphal Entry. You can find it at any of the Gospels in Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John. And just read about the Triumphal Entry, and that you would be praying that the Spirit of God would stir in you what He is stirring out of that passage, and that is that Jesus is the King, and you're confronted with that. We're all confronted with that reality that Jesus is the King. And the thing that comes very clear in John's Gospel is that He may not be the King you think you need. We all want different things. And those people in that day, they wanted to be freed from their physical bondage. They wanted that kind of deliverance. They wanted that kind of prosperity. And what they didn't realize is that they needed a different kind of deliverance. They needed delivered from their spiritual oppression. They needed to be delivered from the penalty of their sin. And that's what Jesus came to do. And that's why He is the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world. And we're going to look at that, at what it means to follow this King who shoulders a cross. And so I hope that you'll be praying about gathering with God's people this weekend and about worshiping Him. I pray that you'll read the Triumphal Entry, and that your heart will be prepared, and that your mind will be alert, and you'll be ready to dig into this passage with us this weekend. Until then,